Welcome back to Communication for Leadership and Influence. You're listening to episode 6. I'm Yogesh, and today we're exploring something that might just be the most underrated leadership communication skill: active listening.
And I'm Lily. I love this topic. Most people think of communication as what you say, but the truth is, how you listen often determines the quality of your influence.
Exactly. Active listening is not about being silent while the other person speaks, it's about being fully engaged, present, and responsive. It's the foundation of trust and understanding.
Let's start by defining it. Active listening means listening with intention, to understand, to connect, and to make the other person feel seen and heard.
And in leadership, that's everything. People don't follow leaders who always talk. They follow leaders who listen because listening shows respect, humility, and curiosity.
There's a great quote that says, being heard is so close to being loved, most people can't tell the difference. And in leadership, that kind of listening builds real loyalty.
Beautiful. Now let's talk about the common traps leaders fall into. One is listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Yes, that's when you're not truly present. You're just waiting for your turn to speak, and people can feel that.
Another trap is distraction. Checking your phone, thinking about your next meeting, multitasking, all of that signals you're not my priority right now.
So true. And then there's the fixer mood. Leaders who interrupt because they think they already know the answer, but that robs the other person of the chance to be heard.
Exactly. Sometimes people don't need a solution. They need space to explore their thinking. That space is influence.
So how do we practice active listening? Let's give our listeners a simple framework, the SOLER model. S is sit squarely or orient yourself towards the speaker. O is open posture, no crossed arms. L is lean in slightly. E is eye contact. R is relax.
That model is great for in-person and virtual meetings. It reminds you to be physically and mentally present.
Let's add a few more techniques. Paraphrasing. So what I hear you saying is reflecting emotions. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated. Pausing, give silence, let people think.
And one of the most powerful phrases a leader can say is, "Tell me more." It invites depth. It shows you're not just skimming the surface.
I love that. Let's role play a quick example. I'll play a team member coming to you with a concern. Yogesh, I feel like our deadlines are too aggressive lately and it's starting to burn the team out.
Thank you for sharing that, Lily. I really want to understand this better. Can you tell me more about what you're seeing or hearing from the team?
Mostly it's quiet frustration. People are still hitting deadlines, but they're skipping breaks and it's impacting morale.
That's important to hear. It sounds like people are committed but stretched. Let's think together about how we can recalibrate, maybe prioritize differently or build in buffer time.
That short exchange shows how active listening makes space for empathy, insight, and shared problem solving.
Yes, listening like that doesn't just solve problems, it strengthens relationships.
And here's the key. Active listening is visible. People can tell when you're listening. It shows in your body, your eyes, your follow-up questions.
And it pays off. Teams led by active listeners report higher engagement, less conflict, and more innovation. Because when people feel safe to speak, they share ideas more freely.
Let's also address the myth that good listeners don't talk much. Not true. Active listeners respond, but they do so thoughtfully, reflectively, and with care.
Absolutely. It's a two-way process. And good listeners also ask great questions.
Speaking of questions, here are a few that leaders can use to deepen listening in meetings. What's another perspective we haven't considered yet? How do you feel about this direction? What are we not saying that we should be saying?
Those questions unlock voices that might otherwise stay silent. That's inclusion in action.
So how do you develop your listening muscle? Start with intention. Before any conversation, say to yourself, my goal is to listen deeply and fully. That mental prep changes your presence.
And schedule listening time into your calendar. One-on-ones where your only job is to listen and understand, not give answers.
One final practice. After each key conversation, ask yourself, Did I listen more than I spoke? Did I make the other person feel heard? What did I learn that I didn't expect?
That's powerful reflection. Shall we wrap up with today's key takeaways?
Sure. 1. Active listening is intentional, visible, and respectful. It builds trust, safety, and deeper influence. 2. Avoid distraction, interruption, and fixer mode. 3. Use body language, reflection, and great questions to show presence.
And most importantly, remember that listening is not about waiting to talk. It's about creating space for connection and clarity.
In our next episode, we'll be covering persuasive communication techniques.
And always, we'll dive into how to craft messages that move people towards action without pushing or manipulating. Thank you, Lily. And to our listeners, if you found this episode of Corporate Communication useful, don't forget to join us leadershipacademy.tag Sutra. Do share it with your friends and colleagues and leave your review. Until next time, lead with your ears and influence with your attention.